welcome back if you've watched the other videos. If not, welcome. Today we're going to look at building this character, Beaky, onto this guy. We'll give him a new name, and the reason we're doing this, we're just going to make a second level druid, and it's going to be all the features of doing a character. And we're choosing a druid, shape-shifting druid, because it sort of utilizes everything that you could possibly want. He's got spells, cantrips. He's also got this shape-shifting ability, and it gives an option to really expand what you can do with a character sheet. So let's get into first building a second level druid. This I will just race through, and we'll have to, of course, come over here and just create a new character. And I'm going to call this guy Tweety. We use the selected token, and if I come over here to where I just loaded this guy, and so this artwork comes from Johanna, Tarkela. I'm not sure, Tarkela. I'm not sure how to pronounce that, but there's the artist, and I've just built a simple token to use. Maybe in a later video I'll show you how I build those tokens. Right, so we're just going to race through this. I'm just using the character mount, so I'm going to choose the race. I think it's Arakokra, the bird race. And so standard array. I love standard array because everyone ends up with a balanced character. No one's rolled a bunch of 18s. Quickly choosing just some traits there. Not really worried too much about these. I'm not playing him standard equipment. It's just as quick as possible. Grabbing some spells, ensuring that I've got a cantrip that attacks, some spells that also attack, so that they end up in that list. I just went with standard equipment as well, for as quick as possible. As soon as I complete this, I'll sort of go back in and push him out to second level. And then we should be ready to go. Let's have a look. Alright, so we've got a character. Let's set the token up. I want hit points. Why did that not work? HP, go down and click it. Oh, okay, that's because that's not set up yet to be him. So we want this to be Tweety. I'm going to show his nameplate. And this can be his hit points. I mean, it's up to you how you set these. This is just what we often do in the games I play. There's going to be hit dice. He's only got 2. Nice, and so they float above him. I like to see the numbers. You can choose not to want to have it like that. This is where we go in here. Player. See, so actually, no, we want to see it. And it's only visible to the editors, right? So other people aren't going to see those numbers. Visible to the editors. Sweet. So if I open that up again to the character now, and remember we've changed the token there. And I don't think he's got dark vision. So armor, ritual, wild shape. Yep. What is that? Nope. So let's edit that, remove the last token because that was just an empty one, and we're using that one now. And that's really important to do, to assign your updated token to your actual character sheet. So, this is your default character, and you're probably reasonably happy with it. You think you've sort of got everything. Let's do some minor housekeeping. I'm going to come in here, it's Tweety, and I want his name, and I'm going to put in the 16 of his armor class. That's what I'm putting up there. And let's say I'm being Tweety. I'm going to come over here, is it? Yeah, it's all the way over here, right to the top. And so I'm going to say I'm Tweety, and again I'm using that tool, and it's going to be probably 13 plus 2, so maybe 15. We'll save the name, and what I'm doing here is I'm putting in his passive perception. 5 plus 10 is 15. And that way the dungeon master or game master, while they're playing and someone's trying to sneak up, he can look down here and see what the passive perception of each of the players are, and he knows if it was less than 15 or less, then I would have spotted him, or spotted the trap or whatever. And that way we don't have to ask people what that is. The game master can always just look down there. You'll see here the normal one's already in there, so that is the whisper, and if I click on it, it's / talk to myself. And so that's the ability to go like that, talking to yourself. And so whatever I put in here now, only I see it. And I click it again, it's back now, and I can go hello, and everybody sees it. Okay, so those are some basic displays. Now that I've actually changed that name, what I probably need to do is go back in. Anytime you change something like that, you're going to want to update that token onto the character sheet. Right, so the names, the displays. Let's get into it. So, here he's only got a few things, but he's got 2 weapons, he's got some cantrips, and he's got some spells. You'll also notice I like to have all of these ticked so that I can add special things on. He's got normal initiative, none of the bonuses. We're not going to go into that stuff today, but let's get in here, and I'm going to create just a series of dashes, and it's not an attack and it's not a damage. And you're like, well, what is the point of this? Click this, and I can now move that up. Right, and so those are my attacks. Perfect, right? And then I've got a cantrip, and then I've got some spells. What I might just do is create another one of those. Actually, let's just so it conforms, we'll copy that and come in here, boom, another one, and I can move that up, say to there. And so you can divide this up. I often have cantrips on a caster. They'll just be in a group together. And what I'm going to do here, though, is I'm also going to move Thunderwave in there. So those are my attack things, and there's my healing thing. And so that's just a nice divide, right? When I'm looking for what I'm going to do, I've either got my attacks, using my Talon. Ooh, that's not good. I never want to whisper the roll. Yeah, so that's good. Always roll, but I also want to auto roll damage. There's no point waiting, because this is asking me to then, if I hit, click that. What's the difference of just getting that out of the way? Oh, he can't. Oh, see. He can't have a minus. He can't not do damage. So he's not very good with it. Attack. And that's just a blank. There we go. Simple straight up roll. I'm surprised that it's bludgeoning with his talons. I would have thought maybe scratchy piercing maybe. In any case, and then I've got little quarterstaffs again. So he's getting the minus to the attack, but he's not going to get that minus to the damage. What we want here as well, we have a shillelagh, right? Which is probably the only time he's ever going to actually use this. And I don't really imagine I'm ever going to use the quarterstaff two-handed. So the 1d6 versus the 1d8. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to say this is... Geez, I can't even remember how to spell this. Let's go have a quick look at our spells. See how that's spelt. Yeah, that's a tricky word. Okay, let's grab that. And so, take that away. Let's throw that out there into the chat. And so I'm going to get to do 1d8. Becomes 1d8, goes up, and I also get to use my wisdom for it. So instead of strength, your spellcasting ability, which for a druid is wisdom. So let's replace that. Paste that back in, So this now is wisdom. It's 1d8 and it's wisdom. Bludgeoning. Right. Yeah, what a difference, right? Talents is... I'm proficient. How come that... Oh, the -1. Ooh, jeez. Right. So, -1 plus 2. That is somewhat brutal. Why has he got bless on? He should not have bless. I don't want that either. So those are the examples. When you turn these things on, they will often drop in an example of using it. So I shouldn't have bless on. Some reason that is holding a bless. Global attack modifier. Let's turn a bless on while we're here. This is the sort of thing you want to have available anyway. Alright, so we'll say the bless is on and put it up here as well. So it's grayed out, but it's not actually filled out. It's an important distinction. They are just showing you an example of what could be used there. It's not actually in there until you type it in. So now if I make a saving throw, yeah, it's got that bless. That was a good save. And if I take it off, do a dex, just straight rolls. Let's take that off now. Yeah, there we go. I'm not sure how that got on there, but it was. So, great stuff. +5. And that's the 2 proficiency and the 3 from his wisdom. So, that sort of sets that up and divides it for us so we can see what we're doing. Now he also has, actually, why don't we get some of those core things that I've shown in the other videos done. We'll start by throwing down an initiative up there. Bam. And so remember, if we come into the chat and I press the up arrow, it plays the last thing, and you can up arrow all you want and come back down through them as well. So that first up arrow, we can call that init for initiative. Tick, and show as a token. Personality traits. Let's see. I'll put all of this code in the description of the video. While I'm here, you are welcome to use too. That is what Raw Dungeons & Dragons has. The way we play it, you only have one. And so I'm going to choose my favorite of those. Unfamiliar ritual, that's a good one. I have ideas about what it is in food, and I find eating habits of those around me fascinating, confusing, and revolting. Yeah, that sounds interesting. I used the ritual one recently with a monk. It was hilarious. The weird things I would do before going to bed and getting up. Just into that shouting monk. Some of the worst things, you can use your imagination, that shouting monks do as demonstrations of their focus. So I'm just going to have the one, and so I'll call it food ideas. That trait. And same deal again, but this time with ideals. Just learn from the kindly folk of meat. And from kind. Sweet. Let's go to the bond. And if you don't use these, then you could skip it, I guess. I would recommend, even if you don't use it for the inspiration the way we do, still chucking it in there, because one of the things I like this for 2 reasons. One is it allows you to generate your own inspiration, and it takes that responsibility and effort off of the Dungeon Master. So you can only use one trait, one bond, one flaw, one ideal during a session that you're playing. But the DM doesn't have to worry about that. He doesn't have to look at play and try to evenly throw it out. The other one, because 4 chances to get advantage on your rolls is a massive advantage in the game, it forces you to do a little bit of roleplay. Maybe your characters like to just do the mechanical fighting. Well, now if they want that advantage on a saving throw or an attack roll that's really important, they have to sort of throw these concepts into it. Freedom first, we'll call this one. And so that's a great way to just add a little bit more dimension to your games. Last one has floor. Let's grab that, chuck it in here. We've got pretends not sin. Me no speak. Me no speak. Yeah, perfect. And we'll tuck that in. And one last one is that, and this is of course only if you're doing this. If you have this particular API script added, and it's going to be the resting. And I put the exclamation mark at the front. Any symbol is going to be pushed to the left. It sort of does these in alphabetical order. And so by throwing this symbol in there, it forces that one to be on the left. And so when I close this, in fact, I could probably, I could probably do this as well. Add, yeah, no, that's good. So if we just go back to the character sheet and minimize that so we can get over here, click off, click back on, look at my initiative, my rest, and then I can throw each of these down. Remember, you could also add GIFs to that, right? I won't focus that here. We'll be seeing GIFs later, but to do a GIF, it's square brackets with anything in there. It just has to be like a character, a letter, I would assume, and then the address of the image, and that wants to finish with .gif or .jpeg, PNG, whatever it is. Has to finish with that, so it has to just be the path to the image, not to the page that has the image. And so you should be really careful with GIFs. A lot of the GIF websites, they sort of lock up the code, and there'll be a question mark and a bunch of letters at the end, and that's not going to work. So the easiest way to do it really is to copy that image address and then put it in a new tab and see whether or not that's it. Like, so if I was doing this image, let's say I open image in a new tab, that's no good. That path isn't going to work for me. And so what I want is I want to get it down to that path, and it's blocked, right? So that's actually no good. That's Reddit has stopped that. So you couldn't easily use that particular image. So that's why it's worth testing. Otherwise you'll end up with a weird little block like that. Probably, yeah, weird little block image showing that didn't work, and the D on there. Okay. So let's get to some of the more complicated things. So this is, we can do the same thing we did before here. And I can put in a bar. Yeah, I don't really want anything of that, right? Other, nothing. And close that, do this. Move it up, and so we've just got combat wild shape, beast shape, wild shape, wild shape. Right, let's move. So that's everything Druid, and up above is everything that isn't Druid. Right, so another way of separating things out. And you could technically give them titles, right? There's nothing stopping me. Even if it's just inside here and I go Druid, I scream that. Ooh, hardly impressive. But there you go, the Druid. And it's just showing what's underneath, or I could put it inside there. I like these dashes because it really separates stuff out, right? It's an easy thing to see, to define and divide the line. Ooh, there's another cleanup I like to do. This is silly. So let's take that, and we'll go up to his languages, his first one, like that. He also knows this language, right? So let's grab that. and common and druid. Druidic. V, comma, common. Looks like I didn't give the correct space. Let's notice the grammar. Okay. And you could go further and clean all of those up. But just so when your DM asks who speaks Gnomish, I can click that one and show all of the languages I speak. Right? Much better. And you could probably do the same with armor and weapons. Right, so I'll just quickly whiz through this, get those all into just single groups, weapons and armor, and then remove all the excess stuff nice and tidy. Right, much tidier list, right? My armor, my weapons, and language. The languages I speak. 3 rather than that huge list. A lot less confusing. Similar stuff can be done here, but what we're really going to focus on here is I have the ability to wild shape. And so I'm going to go to my beer form. Let's give that a space. Oh, beer form. Okay, so at this point, what we're going to look at is what happens when I become a bear. So let's look at the wild shape, combat wild shape. So at second level, you gain the ability to wild shape, and on your turn as a bonus action. Yep, bonus rather than full action. That's brilliant. I've never bothered like dropping that spell slot to give you 1d8. Ooh, that's big, right? That is a wall of text. You can use bonus action, magnificent shape. Yep. So what I know, I've chosen Moon because I can become a bear at this one, and bear is fantastic. So let's look at a brown bear. Right. Now the DM's got a few options to deal with this. And maybe they bring out a brown bear token and they grant you control of it, or something like that, or we could put in the special attacks. What we're going to do is we're going to expand out here. Sorry, not that. Let's take that away. Oh, it didn't work. Okay, let's anyway click in there, the little information, and we're going to use our mods here. And mods, well, let's look up here at this. So this address on the wiki, this is a brilliant page. It's going to show you all of the things you can do on the core page. But one of the greatest bits here is the mods. So where's the equipment? I've gone past, I was right on it. Equipment, mods. And so these are all the things I can change with the mod part of the equipment. So I could change the skills, I could change my armor class, say it was magical or something along those lines. If they change it, it's also in the mods field, it will change the calculation. So if I made it heavy armor or something like that. But of course what we want to do is we want to change our form to now match these physical states. Strength 19, Dex 10, Con 13. And so if we look over here, it's just the full word and then the number. We're not going to add or minus because those things will change. Maybe we level up and we increase our dexterity for some reason. So instead, down here in mods, I'm going to go straight. Spell that right, yeah. Strength 19. And it says we put a comma, and we put in the next one. Dexterity 10, comma, and Constitution, and we want that to be 16. And the reason I'm putting that in, like maybe that feels like you don't need it. Let's take it off. So there's my strength, there's my dex. Got good dex and a reasonable con, and then when I go into bear form, ooh, that's too high. That's gone weird. That's added it right? So let's start by moving that up so I can see it as it happens. So let me check. I thought replaces the indicated ability score with the appears on the sheet while the bonus is active. Do not use a colon. Will do nothing. Okay. Yeah, but that didn't really. It provides indicated score strength plus 10. So that really should have worked. Let's turn that off. Let's go see what we did on beer key for that same thing. Whoops, hold shift. And you'll see beer key is higher level than that. He's all the way up to 4. And down here I've got, he's also got the octopus shape, right? But he's got beer shape. So I did go with a plus. Obviously that worked better. It's a shame, really, because I like the idea of just setting it straight. Stop it. Get rid of that. Okay, so he was 8, so it'll be plus 11. His dexterity down to 10 would be minus 6. And the constitution plus 4. Turn it off, turn it back on. There we go. So that's now produced the numbers and the bonuses that we wanted. I'm a little confused by that. That seems to replace the indicated ability score, which will appear in blue on the sheet, with the bonus as active. Yeah, replaces the indicated ability score. That really should have just done that. But it didn't, did it? It seemed to opt to add. We don't need that anymore. Let's also chuck in that, and I can move that up there. And I might just put in another one. Move that up there. Go like this, and so I want my wooden shield, my leather armor, quarterstaff. Yep, my weapons basically. Map, sure. Okay. Lovely. And so again, we've just divided up that equipment with these breaks. So the bear form, if I take that away, so a bear ends up with armor class 11, I think. Yeah, natural armor class. So when I go into bear form, and we don't need those aren't really equipped. I'm taking those off and putting that on. Oh, he's got a natural armor class. Okay, so let's go in here and also give the mod of AC plus 1. Yeah, 11. So the alternative to that, of course, is you could just leave those on and instead put a minus when you go into bear form. To drop that down. Take that off. So let's say, so it looked like I wanted to, when I go into there, I needed -3. And that will change my armor class. Oh, -2, sorry. Two. And that'll get me to the AC 11. And up here we can also add bite. Yeah, it's going to be strength based. Damage is 1d6. Can't remember what, we've got it right here, don't we? 1d8 for a bite. 1d8, and it's piercing. Piercing. And we've also got claw. So this is 2d6 slashing. Oh, while I'm here, let me just look at that. Plus your strength modifier instead of 1 bludgeoning damage normal for an unarmed strike. You deal slashing damage equal to... Yeah, that's what I thought. Talons would be slashing. Or slashing, okay. And so he's in bear form, and you can see that because I've changed the stats to match it, it's already the +6 that relates to it. And if I'm not in bear form, that's going to be some weak attacks. So let's move that stuff up here. I'm going to move it all the way to the top, and that's because this druid's not really going to... It's not really going to do this stuff, get into fights, right? Oh, let's go bear bite. And just to be clear, bear claw. Right? So, normally got 16 AC. Maybe as a bonus action, I cast Shillelagh and I swing my attack. That's reasonably good. But if instead, as a bonus action, I switch to bear form, and I can then bite and claw. And now I'm really doing some damage, right? And I've got the potential to do some serious damage. That claw can destroy things. Remember, I'm only 2nd level right now. The 2nd level druid, Moon Druid, is one of the more powerful, especially this guy, because he's... Where are we? Wild shape. I can fly, right? Speed 25. Does he not fly? Flight. Yeah, you have a flying speed of 50. Let's grab that and add that up here, because that is an important thing to remember. Flight. Yep, sweet. That's fine. Let's move that up here. All good. Done with that. Reduce those. And what I'll do is up here, I'll put in brackets 50. Now, there are many other important parts about being a bear. I had those hit points, and I also have a climb speed of 30, and I have advantage on my wisdom perception that relies on smells, that double attack. So what I like to do, because I'm going to tell people that I'm going to wild shape, right, is I will set up a special macro for this. So let's go bear shape. Bear shape. Right, so this is bear keys 1, and I'm going to change it to bear time. Oh, he's going to go 32 hit points. Must be the octopus with the more hit points. In any case, let's save that, and we put in our bear shape down here. We'll give it a orange. Ooh, that's not very orange, that's more of a salmony pink. Let's go brown, because it's beer time. Right, so it's got the important information for me too, which is important. It's reminding the DM, right? It's beer time. I could maybe change that to go, where are we? Beer shape, name. Oops, wrong place. Let's go one over. Bonus action. It's just so I know what that cost, right? Bonus action, beer time. So I've now got 34 hit points, a speed of 40, climb of 30, and that keen sense of smell. And that climb is really useful. I mean, sure, I can technically fly, but not with that powerful attack. And because it's a bonus action, I might fly my 50 feet and then drop bear onto someone, right? So get some serious distance to sort of fall in, to sort of close that ground, and then change as a bonus action. And then, so we take on the bear form, and then I get to go pow, pow. Ooh, that's a shame. But you see the increase there, that sort of power. Right. That's really the core parts of the character we want to deal with. You've seen how you can put in a bless. Same sort of stuff comes over. So we've got the global attack modifier. If we were a paladin, or say like sneak attack, if we had something where we were also going to do extra damage, we could fill those in. We don't need to worry about that here. Let's maybe look at just some custom macros that you were probably also going to want. Close that away. And this also meant that the DM doesn't need an extra token, right? He can just do that when you go into bear shape. You might want to click on your token and change that name. But if you'd been sticking around with the earlier videos and we had that fixed name, the DM might set up a button that clicks on you and toggles your name back and forth between your normal one and your bear one. But let's bring this down and assume we want to just have some macros down here as a player for some other things that you do. And I'm going to go add, and we'll go potion of healing, normal. So let's go grab the code that I've already got set up, and I'll paste it in there. And so again, so it's the traits template, just because it's a really simple, clean one. Got the name telling me what I'm going to do. The source is whiskey and ice because it's a normal one. And then what it does, gargles of healing juice, and then I've put in a link. Right, so let's just put that there and say I also want, because sometimes I've got greater healing potions, right? So potion of healing greater. You probably at this level don't need this, but you never know. This particular campaign, so this time it's pure whiskey. He's really hitting it. We will save that, and I'll put those normal healing. Okay, let's fix that up just briefly. Boom, boom. Sure, nice. So they look the same. And I'm going to go with a green there for that one, and then a really dark green for the greater. And so if we go back here, boom. So 5 points of healing. We can see it there. Potion. Well, that's not very good, is it? Potion of healing. Big healing. And you see the power of those gifts. I would probably, if I go back in here, potion of healing. Let's just take that away and go greater. And in here, take that away. Go normal. So we'll throw those down again. Yeah, normal, greater. And if we wanted to see, whoo, that's a big one, we can always just hover over the number and see exactly what it did. There are 2 more important macros that you are going to want as a player, and if you're not doing this first one, you should be. You should absolutely have this. And I'm going to call it the old dodge. And so this is nothing, right? It's the traits one again, a nice simple one. I've given it the name. This is the Tweedy dodge, hoedown, and then a picture to go with it. And the other one, this one, less important. It really depends on how you you as a group are playing. But we'll go inspiration and change that to 20. Right, let's grab, I want dodge, then inspiration. And you can reorder these just by unticking them and then ticking them in the order that you want them to be in. So it's a dodge, that's an inspiration. Okay, and so the idea here is, I mean, it's not much of an action you might think to dodge, but if you get up close, you get in the way, and then you dodge, they have disadvantage attacking you. Really important for a fighter to be able to do that, draw all the attacks and yet not get hit. We use this a lot as a tactic, and you really should do the same. It gives everyone attacking you disadvantage and you advantage on dexterity saving throws. And if you are using inspiration and you're getting it, we like to sort of throw that down, right? I know just what to do. And so that's because, let's say I'm getting a fireball is coming at me, and I'm like, whoa, you can't stop me with a fireball, you can't kill me. My freedom is the most important to me, and so you can't take my life and stop my existence. I want to be free. And then I say that I'm using that inspiration immediately, and then if we open this fellow up, I make that dexterity saving throw. Didn't need the advantage, but still used it. Boom, 19. Right. So I think that's pretty much where we're going to end, right? We have built a custom character sheet. We have allowed us to show these. You can obviously put stuff in here, your own ones. These are the same traits, these sheets. The same ones I'm using for this. Remember how, so if I was to, let's do this one, Wild Companion, do an up arrow, you can see that it's a template traits, and then they've done the output, the name, the source, blah blah blah. So if I come down here, that's just filling out these things. So very simple way to build some custom little macros and buttons for you, just copying and pasting, ripping off from the traits there. Let's close that. Click like if you found something useful in that video, and subscribe if you want to keep up to date to future videos as they are released. Thanks again.